to you, if you want to give us just a brief history of what happened on the 14th.
Yeah.
We'll go from there.
Well, let's see, those of you who don't know about this, not a few of you. Last Thursday, we appeared before the St. Louis County Planning Commission. We were hopeful of having them deny this conditional use permit for this positive energy outfit. Well, it didn't work. In the end, it was a 4-2 loss. But it was an experience like I've never had with these people. It's hard to explain where they get these commission members. I can say that, of course, we approved of 2 of them because they attempted to create a resolution that would deny the permit. They got overruled, and then the 4 other folks, of course, passed one that gave them the permit. A lot of things happened during that meeting that were just, I'd almost call them off the wall with this commission. I think we did a pretty good job in presenting our case. Dan started out and went through, kind of covered our resolution, in particular the additional conditions we wanted to use or have applied to this permit. They seemed reasonable. It went well. And then Sandy Cook, as an official of Normanna, was able to speak, and she described a conversation with Commissioner Jewell. And, well, the heart of that is, and I don't know how clearly that part came across to that commission, but the heart of that was that Jewell frankly said that we want those dogs out of Normanna, you know, pretty much telling us that, pretty much telling us that, yeah, the whole operation they got to get out of there because there's so much problem there. Then Joel wrote a nice letter, and he went through a lot of those details. It's hard to tell who was listening up there on that commission. And I tried to sum the thing up. I covered what we had done here. I went over the history of our land use plan, time that it took to make the thing, the 2 years we worked on it. What we did now, our recommendations from our committee, our resolutions, and I was very clear about how far well, it's not exactly the perfect sampling, as a scientific method, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Our sample was over 50 people, and we were at 98% wanted this thing denied. Statistically, that means in this population of about 500 voters, it was going to be over 95% in the end. And I think that's probably what would happen, and hopefully that will happen when people read this, and if they do call in. We'll see for sure, but I tried to make that a point with these people. Again, it didn't seem to be working. I summed this up by explaining that they have the scale here on which these things are measured. On one side is the opinion of one staff attorney from the county. That opinion giving county planning, one planner, the approval to do things such as call their business, which is pretty large in multiple locations, a small home type business. It gave them permission to overrule our reservation of that strip of land along County 44, something other than what we had reserved, which is for residential development in the future. So that kind of thing went on and on. And then, since I was last, and I was the one that was going to take all their questions, and it got more bizarre than ever, some of these questions. But let me back up for just 1 second. Less than a minute into my presentation, the two of these members up there, they were gabbing back and forth to each other, not even listening. I had to stop, pause till they'd look at me, and I could start up again. And then they wouldn't even make eye contact like the rest of them as I was trying to talk to the different ones. Well, we got questions like, how many conditional use permits have you handled? I said, well, when I've been around, there have been 2 of them, about 11. That's what I know about. And immediately, and these people aren't supposed to be communicating. This is supposed to be an independent group that decides these things. Immediately, this Jenny, who wrote the county's opinion of the plan, she jumps up and said, well, they've had 8 or 9 or whatever since 1988 and went through the things. In fact, I never saw the things, and they're insignificant. There was no conflicts over them. I didn't know that we had a bed and breakfast in the township. I don't know if anybody knows what that thing is, but they went over the archery shoot, and I don't know when that happened, but it wasn't when I was around. It came in Birchfield's place. It's been around a long time, before our land use plan.
It happened on my time.
So anyway, in the end, there just wasn't much of a response from these guys. There was a couple of them that looked kind of concerned. One of them, he's just kind of shaking his head and sort of smiling the whole time. It's hard to read what he was doing. But, well, they were kind of done with me. And this chair, this lady, last name Pinio, she said, well, and bear in mind, this was set up, this whole delay, the cabling of this for a month, and it was set up at that point that only Normanna officials could speak. Well, she said, okay, Blake, you can have the last say. And this guy, if any of you have met him, it's an unbelievable experience. He just kept rambling on and on. The commission even had to control him and focus and get him on task, is what one of them said.
I think he does that on purpose.
Well, he can't control it. He is out of control. He's borderline psychotic, this guy, and that's a fact. So everything that we'd heard about him, well, was appearing to be true. So I didn't have an opportunity to say, well, hey, wait a minute here. This and this and this and this, these are all either insanity or you're lying about it. Well, most of them lying about things, you know. He claimed that our resident up here, Tony Coughlin, bought the 80 acres that he owns out from under him, you know, and it was the county's fault. I mean, these things that are really out there, neurotic kind of statements. Well, they had their big discussion then, and the commission did. And the discussion that we're having after a resolution is presented, you know, and seconded, and there's discussion. Well, that just fell apart because a guy named Spados, was his last name, he made the first resolution, attempted to make it that the permit be denied. He got one supporting. You know, they talked about it, boom, voted it down, and then they went into the next one, which was to approve this thing. Well, that was pretty amazing to listen to their discussion. Two of the guys, their names were Combs and Pollock, their primary reason for approving this thing was because the county attorney had said that we're a small business and, you know, we have to go by county attorney. Wait a minute here, you know, laws are interpreted all the time. That's what lawyers do. He said we might get sued. So I thought, what the heck are guys like this sitting on this commission for when they don't even understand held harmless? So it was so frustrating, you can't believe it. This kind of stuff went on and on from that group up there. I don't know where they dug up 4 of them. Oh, so it was frustrating beyond belief. Then it ends, and the vote's taken out, and we lose 4-2. Joel and I are trying to talk to some of these commission members up there, and now all of a sudden they're buddy-buddy, and, you know, it was very weird, but we did get some good advice from a couple of them. One of them who voted against us actually said, go out there, drop over the railing, and you'll be okay. I probably shouldn't say something like that, but it was humorous. He was laughing. He was joking about it because the guy was behaving so strangely. But I stayed and spoke with these commission members, and Joel did for a while, but he left before I did. I hear this big commotion out there with this guy, Blake, and you met him, most of you. He waited. He confronted, first of all, Sandy Cook. And you tell about this, Joel. You witnessed this. He was calling her a liar or something like that. Yeah,
I didn't see the Sandy Cook part, but Mike came in and said there's a spike in the
that's
hallway
my brother. Yeah.
that we need to do something.
Yeah.
So I went over to, I kind of peeked out there, and everyone's in each other's face pointing. I went over to the planning lady, Mary Anderson, and I said, you need to do something about out in the hallway. And she said, well, I can escort you to your car if you need. I said, no, you need to control this guy or do something or I'm going to call the cops. And so he went out there and he attacked her, about what she was doing. And she was going like this, trying to, calm him down. And he's like, get your hands out of my face, and, stuff like that. So this went on for a while, and then she got him to go downstairs, and she went back in. And it continued outside for a while.
It continued right outside.
Wow.
So even with a winning vote?
Even with the
Yeah.
winning vote, he waited, he confronted
Like,
his brother
let it
and
go.
Sandy. Then Marcy got in on it and tried to defend Sandy, and eventually you told him to shut up and let Sandy speak, didn't you? Something like that.
I'll tell my version. Do you want me to come tell my version?
But anyway.
Yeah, he was threatening to sue us for
Oh, yeah.
defamation of character. And what I said about, the way the pictures I took would hurt his business and hurt him, and that I can't do that.
He threatens to sue everybody.
So,
So that's kind of the report, and that's touching 5% of what happened. Yes, Marcy? What?
okay, so you mentioned one other thing about the board.
Sure.
They didn't know, it was also mentioned, they didn't know what to do with the township's recommendation resolution. And there was no instruction given to those guys other than, you can go with the township or you can go with their staff. And that was just unreal. They really didn't know what to do with that, I thought.
They appeared to have their instruction well in advance, which is not supposed to happen.
I just wonder how often they actually get responses from township, because you're saying that some don't have a copy.
Most of the time, townships don't care. Like, what would they have cared about the 3D shoot that he has twice a summer,
Yeah.
They're
Well,
nothing.
we sent the letter during that one, just kind of our recommendation, but it wasn't anything official.
Okay.
But you have some that don't have a land use plan, so they have nothing but back there.
Right, they have
There's
nothing.
nothing.
Well, that's
So
another thing,
that's-
explain to them. We have a lot of townships with nothing, we have some with their own zoning. We're kind of in the middle, it's sort of a gray zone, but it should have given us some right. And I'll get to what that means in a bit as we kind of wrap this thing up. But one other thing that you should know, that all these letters that folks wrote, and 27 of them came in. I don't even know who all of them were at this point. They handed those to those people when this started. And none of them read any of them. And this Jenny from planning walks up there and says, well, essentially there's nothing new in here in any of these letters. It's all a rehash of the same thing. Well, it's a rehash of the facts, what we have in our land use plan, and how our interpretation should matter, because it's our citizens, and it's our township, and it's our land use plan. So nothing from that at all. And, okay, you
Marcy,
kind
you
of
wanna-
put that on the table. Yes.
Add your statement to the records there? Sure.
I don't know if I got that focused right. I'd like to add my voice of one of 10 people that showed up. Probably never that many in the past has ever
12.
shown up to
12.
any of these meetings. 12?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know a couple. Okay. First of all, I'm irate because, like Dennis said, 27 letters or 8 went up there. On Tuesday, Jenny had that information. Why didn't she forward that by way of email? That's what mine was, email. I don't know what the other ones were, but I spent a great deal of time after Dennis came over and pleaded with me to do something. So I got involved. And I go up there and sit there through that whole meeting only to find out that they didn't even have the information in front of them. And while they took a few-minute recess, I'm an elected official. To read through 27 responses in less than 5 minutes, excuse me, doesn't fly with me. It's not being prepared to do the job that they're picked to do. People that want to be on those boards just have to volunteer. You get what you get. There was a township official that I know from Clinton, and then another official that had their heads on straight. The others, I think they had the agenda all set by them. But here's something else. I've been on the phone most of the day trying to get a hold of county commissioners, inviting them here tonight. And I did talk to Tom Rukavina, and thank goodness I talked to him first, and Nelson, who I've dealt with for many years, afterwards. And he said it's a political game that they're playing. If Rukavina carries the ball for us, and we need to make sure he does, then he is pretty much assuring us we can get a 4 vote to rescind selling. Okay, this goes through HRA, this property. It doesn't go from the county hands, it goes through the HRA. And the HRA has to be convinced that our land use plan is being violated, and I know that well enough because that was passed during my term here in office. And so the other recommendation by Nelson was buy the property and use it for a park.
Marcia will cover all of it.
Okay, but I'm telling you what one of our county commissioners said, so you go ahead and cover it as well. But that would take it out of his hands, because usually they go with a government official when it comes to buying land and putting it into a park. So there's still some hope, but I think there's still some more fighting to do. But that board of commissioners, as they're called, really did not do their job, and it was very evident by the way they acted, and Dennis has covered that very well. The issue with Blake, Vivian, myself, Sandy, I think Tony was out there with us, came out first. Blake comes along, comes over on this side of me, the other people are over here, and he says, "Why are you attacking me?" And he put it right at Sandy, who had been on his property, talked to his wife, who Nelson finds is a very fine woman. She's got some sense in her head. And, well, you didn't come and talk to me. He wasn't there that day, so she couldn't talk to him. And she made some very positive comments about the property, about the horses, about the other animals there. And so she tried to speak when he accused her of attacking, like the rest of us were attacking him because we were pointing out the facts. It never stopped. I kept saying, lower your voice. Stop yelling at us. Oh, I'm not yelling. This is my loud voice. You're yelling. Lower your voice. He never quit yelling. He never quit interrupting. There was no way to calm this man down. And that's when Joel came out, and that's what happened after that. And so I caught lies coming out of Blake's mouth more than once. And then his standing there attacking us. And so, yeah, we were told to leave and go down. We took it outside, and it continued with his defensive attitude. He was accusing Tony of misrepresenting him on his website and told him not to do things on his website that had anything to do with Blake. I mean, it was bizarre. It really was bizarre. And that's what we're dealing with. The same kind of problem they had in Friedenberg is coming our way, and we just have to band together and stop it.
I will continue from kind of last Thursday, and that was sort of the end of it right there. Now there are two approaches here. One is through the appellate court of the state of Minnesota. That looks like a possibility. I spent some time on that. I talked to the chief clerk down at the Capitol. She was really nice and really helpful. Guided me through their website to an area that is specifically for these kind of civil appeals, and it's for use by people who are not using attorneys. She told me this is not unusual to have this done this way. She gave me the form numbers that need to be filled out, we might be very, very lucky on this because it's going to take a little bit of work. I have a process here. I know the things that have to be done, but you guys all met Mr. Thompson here, our local attorney who does different kind of work. Well, he wanted to come over today, and we talked about all this, and I explained what I learned there. And it appears that he has volunteered to dig into this, how that would be done. And there's a lot we need to know about that. First of all, you file a statement that you're going to file appeal, and that takes a certain amount of time, and then that's a certain form, we know that. And then the case is kind of written out. What is our case? Why are we appealing this decision of this commission? Along with that, there's a notice has to be served on our county attorney, that a certificate of service. I know all of those things, but each one of these things will have a time constraint, or in our case, something that would benefit us. Who knows, it could take this thing months or a year to get on their agenda down there. it's something that I think he's willing to pursue just as a resident.
Is this the same attorney that reviewed? the
No.
resolution? Just
He's a
checking.
resident. He's a resident
Okay, so-
who uses that place a lot.
Because we've had the resolution reviewed by 2 different attorneys, is that correct?
Right, no,
And so
just one that
just the
that
one?
does work for Duluth Township, because our attorney couldn't do it.
So this one
Conflict.
really wants to volunteer his time to
Yes, right.
research the,
In
that's
order to do that,
wonderful.
one thing has to happen. He should be appointed now as a member of the Land Use Committee, because we have one that does not work on the committee. That membership should be rescinded, and this guy should be appointed, and he will do some nice things.
All right, what's that process?
He has to do that as a resident, Douglas Thompson. And sooner the better on that. And that would be a huge benefit for us. I don't know, maybe I could do that, but it's a lot of time, it's just another thing that it'd be nice to have a lawyer there who reads their language much more easily. So that is.
So that's the process there, so they
That's a process, yep, and it's a $550 filing fee, which will be waived for our township.
Okay.
So that's nice. This could be done for zero.
So what's the time constraint on that, though? They just made their decision?
Okay, yeah, that's the next thing let's get to. Good. This process from last Thursday, they are doing the reporting on all of this, and they will send us email. I told her to send an email too that it is done, it's official, and that's our notification on that day that we get that from them. Then we have 60 days to do this with the appellate court.
So 60 days from the notice.
From that notice, it should be showing up, hopefully by the end of this week. That's what Mary Anderson told me when I spoke with her this morning.
Okay.
Maybe early into the week after. So that's one problem. The other one is this idea, and I'll talk about the people I spoke with this morning. Nelson was the first one. Keith Nelson called me back, and of course he's the commissioner for Friedenberg, who did a lot of work helping them, and he didn't know much about the appellate thing. I was trying to get information on that, so I had to call later myself. But he did know about the idea of obtaining the land for the township, which they did over there. And, I wasn't totally comfortable with the idea that we want this as a freebie to put into this park with all the restrictions on that for, there are a bunch of things that there's no need to go into right now, but there's another way, you can buy it outright, and at that point, we could turn around and sell it the next day for any number of people who's going to want it. That may not be the best thing either, but I was thinking about this, and we've had a lot of talk about parking lots up there for all the users. When you drive up there occasionally, you see somebody parked on the edge of 44. They have to drive a long way into where the first gates are in there to park along the side of that road. Heck, it's just something to think about. If we do ask for this land, either to have it given to us, and both Nelson and Rukavina think that they almost have to do that if we say we want it. So why not take that and, okay, it's a small park, we could plow one little trail, but the main thing would be to provide parking for all the public that comes there. Not an expensive proposition at all. And it would solve this problem with these characters. And in my later conversation with Rukavina, he said, well, you mean everybody's welcome? Well, of course. It's a public place. If Blake wants to haul his dogs over there like everybody else, fine, let him use it. That's kind of how that conversation went. But his whole tone in the last 4 interactions that I've had with him has switched from one of where he's kind of saying, well, you can do this and this, but you probably will lose anyway, to now he's supporting us. I will put that at 99% probability at this point.
So even the land has been already said, okay, they already made a vote saying we're going to sell it to?
Well, that vote is a whole different, that is and I was disturbed when I looked at that vote in the resolution when all of them voted for it. But that kind of vote is not attached to a particular buyer. It's saying, okay, we will free up that land to sell it.
Just take it from the conservation.
Because normally, aren't these supposed to be offered to the townships first or not?
They have a law that says, to the township? Yeah, well, I don't know if it says in there, and I haven't translated all that yet, if they have to offer it to us first. But I think that they have to let us have it if we, within our 60 days, and that ends on And that's part of what I'm into now. The 17th of August, I believe, we have to say.
So we should have been
we're gonna
notified
sell.
if there was land available to us, but which we weren't officially.
I don't think they have to notify us of
I
that.
think I've seen the same process work out before a few years
But-
ago, where we didn't want to purchase
But
it. But yeah, I think
we
you're right,
wouldn't-
they have to.
that I am not aware of, and that was denied by county planning. So I don't know that for sure, but I do know that
So if we go, if we
asking
want-
for this will probably
so if
happen.
we go to, and who do we ask for this land? Who do we go to?
Well, that,
What's that process look like?
yeah, I don't know, it goes to, you have that over there, it's going to be to the county commissioners when they function as this HRA. It's the same bunch, by the way, that's the HRA, county HRA, is the county commissioners, meeting under a different name.
We would have to go before them.
Yeah, right, and then they would make that vote.
We had to find out that meeting date then.
Yeah, so that's what I said, 17th of August, we've got until then.
That's when it shows up?
And if we don't disapprove of this by then, they automatically let it go. So, but obviously, we're not going to do that. How in the world our disapproval is combined with our proposal for acquiring this land from the township, I'm not quite sure yet.
Yeah, because we need to know, I mean, what do we bring to something like that? Does that have to be a resolution? Does that have to be something saying that, hey, we want this
Yeah,
land?
it will be a resolution. And I just got some things today from Friedenberg that I haven't even had a chance to look at yet to deal with that, how they did this thing.
Okay, so we have a little bit of background.
Well, yeah, and I'd say in another 5 days, I'm going to have all that information together. It just takes time with all these people. Joe, you wanted to say something?
What's to stop them then from getting another 25 acres and?
Well, that's a real good question there, and I don't know yet, and it's something that I have on the plate to explore.
But I would think they would have to go through a whole conditional use permit again, because this
Yeah.
one was attached to
they'd
that
have
property.
Take it out of preservation or whatever,
Yeah,
and do the
so
whole
that
thing.
the whole process over again.
Oh, sure, it would all
best
start
solution.
over again for a different property, and then again, that's going to run another year and stuff. This guy.
Yep, and then it might be a different commission, might be different people up there.
Right.
And I think our Normanna board should be talking about this each month to be ahead of the game next time
Well,
when
we
he goes
have to.
through it again.
Exactly.
If this works out and he tries again to get into our township. And I have some ideas, but that's a whole different topic. I still want to talk about this a little bit. Can I give my opinion real
Sure.
quick and a couple points here? I know you probably talked with this planning commission or committee about the fact that this company is large
Oh, yeah.
in our community, maybe not by the definition of St. Louis County being the largest county in the United States, but for our township, $250,000 revenue per year is 2.5 times our tax levy. So to us, it's large. I'm sure that you tried to defend our point,
Oh, yeah.
but obviously that point didn't go through with the planning board, but I'm disappointed.
The defense of that was really easy. Sandy was there, and I was sitting there. We wrote that plan. We were two of the people on that planning committee that did that over a 2-year span. We contended what we said there, small home type business.
And it sounds like the county is going to take legal action based mainly upon that definition. So we should have our legal.
No, it's not. It's legal action only in that. Think of it this way: the county planner who was tasked with this, with giving the county's opinion, which was to approve this thing for the various reasons. You can read it in their report.
They're saying it's large, or it's
It's
not large.
That
They're
county
saying
planner,
it's
okay,
not
she's right
large.
here. Now, when she's writing her report, she's looking at her land use plan, saying, how does this fit in? Well, she comes to that one. She says, ooh, can I call this a small business? So she's getting permission from a county attorney to do that. And that flies in the face of what we intended, and that flies in the face of what we want in this township.
For sure.
You see?
I
So
get it.
it's as simple as that. County attorney staff gives her permission to make that claim, and she throws that on the
Well, that
commission, and they
seems to-
believe her.
That seems to be a
Not us.
point that they don't understand our point of view.
Oh, they
it's
understand
so clear
it.
to us.
They understand it.
Okay.
They're not listening.
They
Right.
just reject it because The bottom line on this is that they want that outfit out of Friedenberg because it is a nightmare for them over there in the county.
And that
it's
comes
call
to my
after call to
second
the
point.
sheriff, to the DNR, on and on, the battling going back and forth. And now before we talked about this guy being in a lot of different places and have conflicts in many different ways. Now we've seen it.
Well,
And if we had any doubts, we don't anymore.
we don't. Oh, right. So this man, Blake
Kazir.
He got into an argument with some Normanna citizens who were attending the planning commission, and it became escalated to the point where somebody thought that maybe the police should be called. That's correct? That's what I'm hearing from this
Yes.
meeting right now? So we need to make sure that we don't interact with him anymore. We have to take the emotion out of it and get this all professional and try to stay away from him, because we don't want anyone getting hurt. We don't want any violence, happening to our Normanna citizens. So I just want to make a statement here with everyone who's here to just leave him alone and don't have conversation with him at all. Don't try to convince him of anything. Just stay out of it, because if we're going to, as a board, move forward in a legal direction and, just speaking with the county only, we need to step back from this guy. He's aggressive.
Any attempt to contact him is absolutely pointless. You'd have a better chance of communicating with that clock over there.
Right, so let's not label him anymore. Let's not even think
Oh,
about
he's labeled already.
Where does so let's say, a lawsuit does occur, and let's say the
No,
commission.
where would you think a lawsuit could come from?
Well, just let's say it happens though.
Okay.
But that's why we don't have a local board, so it would go through against the county then, because they're the ones that approve. No, let's say they go through and they disapprove now this conditional use permit, whatever process. I mean, we're kind of,
Well,
in a way,
that thing is most likely the only way for that to be canceled is the appellate court in Minnesota. And that's what Doug Thompson will explore for us.
or if we get the land.
If we get the land, then this conditional use permit is floating on air. There's no point in it. I don't know what they do with it.
I just wonder what our protection is, because we don't have the kind of finances that it would probably
Exactly.
take to battle something like that in court.
Right, and that's why it's so important. To get
But at the same time, that's why we have St. Louis County do our planning and zoning for that reason.
Right, yeah, they know that.
So.
They know that very well.
So our next steps then is you'll look into both of those. By
Right.
August 17th, we better have,
Right.
everything in order for that, if that's what we want to pursue.
Right, well, what we have to pursue, I guess we need to pursue the denial of the sale of the land, the opposition to it, the disagreement with the county HRA decision on that one. And that shouldn't be hard at all. It's just a matter of having 4 of these commissioners vote for us. And now that Rukavina seems to be on board, I think that will probably be easy. But is it a risk we want to take? See, it gets a little bit more complicated. We could go ahead and just fill out the little form they gave us. We don't want this for this, that reason, that reason. We want to keep it conservation land. We want to keep it part of the Cloquet Valley Forest. We do not want any commercial business in there, this sort of thing. And okay, now you're going to vote on that. Well, we can do that all by itself, but if they decide to sell them the land anyway, we haven't done anything to try to acquire it, then we're dead. So what we got to do, I think, is also say that we want that land. And I personally think it'd be best to buy it, because then we're free to do anything with it. We could sell it the next week, and I've confirmed that too.
What
So there's a
would
lot-
the cost be if we purchased?
Its selling price is $42,000, but a number of people would buy it. That's not a problem.
Well, we have to look into that too.
Yeah.
I think the township could they just gift it to us?
Yes, they can. We can go either way. Commissioner Nelson thought that we should leave both options open when we do statements something like this. And this is just a summary of what he suggested, something like Normanna Township wants the conveyance for public purpose to our township. And then an easy way would be the purpose of a public park on which Normanna would then provide public parking. That's one that would be very, and then the little statement about doing that because of safety issues.
So
with parking in the
it doesn't have to be
area.
anything attached to the conditional use permit, we can just do something totally separate. We want first access to this land.
Right, I don't know how those two things work together yet. And another thing I have to tell you about a friend of mine from the past, Dennis Fink. You recognize that name. He was a commissioner for a long time. He's retired now. But he's looking into this whole thing now to find out what's behind it. And he still knows all these guys, and he knew more about this stuff than any of those people in the past, and I dealt with them. And hopefully he'll come up with some nice recommendations and information about how that works together. And I'll keep working on it myself. I'll go see the county attorney and see how we can mesh those things, or if they're separate moves or whatever. But that I would have to get done by like the end of next week, so we should not, we should reconvene this meeting so we can do something.
So, yeah. So there's two avenues in there you'll look into.
Yeah, 2 avenues, and one of them has a couple ways to go,
Okay.
at least 2 ways to go, and that's the conveyance of the land. I know this is just a ton of information here, and it's hard to summarize it, to skim along the surface.
Well, and I don't think we're ready to make a decision on which way to go until we get more information.
No, not at all. Not at all. I hope that we can come up with a resolution right now to do what we have to do to appoint Douglas Thompson.
Well, we can, I think, well, I just put on we'll talk about it later. I just put on new business.
Gotcha.
So we'll talk about it
Yeah.
with another member.
Very frustrating.
All right. Anything else?
I have one quick question on the newsletter article. It's saying the 25 acres on Cloquet Valley State Forest.
Yeah.
Didn't it have a different name?
Yeah, some people like to call it the Island Lake Memorial Forest.
Okay.
This is
that
what the
was it.
county called it last time I heard.
Okay.
So,
I have a question too. So you talked about the county attorney gave the commissioners an opinion.
yes.
Was it in writing?
Oh, sure, they have all that. Yeah, right. They cover themselves that way very well.
So can we get a copy of that opinion? Or did we get a copy of that?
Well, we haven't, but I suppose we can. In fact, where would that one be?
I was looking
No,
for it as
I-
well on their
yeah.
website, but we delayed
So-
because we have to approve, and I was wondering if they had to do something similar.
We would have to call the county attorney's office and try to get that.
It wouldn't be in the commissioner's packets.
It's not on the website.
No, it's not in any of our documents.
I looked.
That came off, and that was very, very clear that they had cleared that with the county attorney before they made that claim that it's a small home type business. As I said before, 2 of those commission members actually went with that as the strength of their argument to deny our permit, or to deny our request to disapprove. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Just a comment, well, something's wrong. When they said it more than once, that they're gonna go with whoever's gonna defend in the court,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, why even have the board then?
No, we made that point too. But, what do we do with land use plan? We're just going to steamroll the thing, give it no value.
But I think we go both ways, because it doesn't cost, the fee is waived to,
Absolutely, we go both ways. We just can get Doug to do this and
Yeah.
explore that, and that's what we need to get him. Yeah, we'll take care of that. Yeah, and he's willing to do it. He's got a lot more time than he said. Just up to this point, he's got time in the next couple of weeks. He was very helpful.
I'd just like to ask one question because maybe I heard wrong, but Mary Ann, who was the secretary there, she very clearly stated to the commissioners when the one said, well, I don't want to get in any lawsuit. We need to go with the recommendation from the county and the attorney.
Yeah.
She did state that, didn't she? So she clearly...
No, she did not.
Okay.
She did not.
Do we want
say
to
that.
clarify that because...
She, that's what those 2 commission members, Combs and Pollock, said. And these people, they didn't even understand their own commission. They were constantly, and sure, they have to be kind of guided by planning, which was Mary Anderson. But she told them it's their decision to make. They didn't know how to make most of these decisions. They were kind of blundering along. So that's how that worked. She did not tell them what they had to do. Never. She backed away from that.
She told them what they could do.
Yeah, right.
What their
The
perimeters
options are
were.
yours. You got to make the choice.
Yeah, right,
Can't do it
exactly.
for you. And that's the whole way this was set up in this county. A lot of counties work that way. They have these commissions that are supposed to be independent. There's supposed to be no collusion with commissioners, with anybody. But you can see there has been with both Blake. One of these guys, Pollock, he actually, I don't know if you picked that up, and we have heard Blake's presentation I've heard it 4 times. Each time it's unfounded and capricious complaints against us. Those exact words. Now, what am I supposed to think when Mr. Pollock brings that up and uses those words, that exact same phrase? These are probably unfounded and capricious complaints. I said, oh my God, what are we sitting in front of? So, did you notice that when he did that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we have.
Okay. I figured it was just from the last meeting that they had, but they definitely been informed.
Yeah, they had been speaking to people that they shouldn't have been by law. It was clear.
Because the meeting prior to this one was the public one, right?
Yeah. Okay. Any more questions, Paul?
Do you recommend that we continue to talk with Tom Rook again?
Oh, yeah. I strongly recommend it, and that's right in this letter that people call. If you want to call him once a week, do it and keep asking for updates. Yeah, keep on him.
So this letter's going to be on our website?
Yeah, we'll be getting to that now. Website, you put it on there too?
It'll be in the newsletter.
The newsletter, for sure.
And
Let's
then
go
the
with that.
newsletters are posted in PDF on the website.
Okay.
Look at this. Ellen's already printed it on.
Because this letter now, I mean, as far as the land sale and stuff, doesn't necessarily just affect our